You think your strength is gone. That the heaviness in your legs, the tired arms, the slowness when you rise from a chair, it's just part of getting older. But what if I told you, your strength didn't disappear? It's just been sleeping. And there's one simple habit that can wake it up, faster than you think. Stick with me, and I'll show you how. There's a moment that sneaks up on most people. It might be quiet. Ordinary. Unremarkable. You're reaching for something on a high shelf. Bending to tie your shoe. Getting out of the car. And then suddenly, it's harder than it used to be. Your legs hesitate. Your arms feel slow. You don't feel pain exactly. You just feel less. Less stable. Less quick. Less strong. And the first thought is almost always the same. I guess I'm just getting older. But here's the truth I want you to hear, clearly, firmly, and with all the weight of modern medicine behind it. It's not age. It's a signal. Your body isn't falling apart. It's trying to get your attention. When you start losing muscle, when your energy feels drained, when things that used to be easy now feel like effort, your body is sending a message. It's saying, I need you. I need action. I need support. And above all, don't give up on me. We've been taught to expect decline. That once you pass a certain point, strength goes in one direction, down. But biology says otherwise. The science is clear, the body can build muscle and restore energy at nearly any stage of life, if, and this is the key, if it gets what it needs. And what it needs, is surprisingly simple. It's not complicated gym routines. It's not expensive supplements. It's not perfection. It's one small habit. One daily decision that tells your body. Yes, we're still doing this. Yes, we still care. Yes, we're still alive and moving forward. In this lecture, we'll talk about what that habit is. What it does. How it works. And why so many people miss it, even though it's right in front of them. We'll look at what muscle loss really is, what it leads to if ignored, and what happens when you start responding with care instead of resignation. But first, let's understand what's really going on beneath the surface when your strength begins to fade. You wake up one morning and notice something small. Your arms don't lift as easily when you reach for a glass. Your legs feel just a little heavier when you walk across the room. You brush it off. Maybe you slept funny. Maybe it's the weather. But days pass, and the feeling sticks. Then something else happens. You go to stand from the couch and have to push with your hands. Or you walk up a flight of stairs and your legs burn before you reach the top. Slowly, quietly, a shift takes place. But here's what you need to know, this shift isn't laziness. It's not weakness of character. It's not even necessarily illness. It's the natural decline of muscle tissue that happens when the body stops being asked to maintain it. And that decline can begin not because you're doing something wrong, but because you've stopped doing something right. See, muscles are like relationships. If you ignore them, they start to drift. And the tricky part? Muscle loss doesn't show up like a dramatic collapse. It shows up subtly. A missed step. A hand reaching for the railing. A hesitation before sitting down. A nap you didn't used to need. And the longer this goes on, the more your body adapts to the idea that strength isn't needed anymore. And once that message gets through, the body starts to respond accordingly. It conserves energy. It breaks down tissue that's not in use. It lowers metabolism. And the result is that foggy, sluggish, heavy feeling that so many people chalk up to aging, when really, it's biology responding to inactivity. Here's the good news, that process is not permanent. In fact, it's remarkably reversible. But it doesn't take a full gym schedule or hours of walking every day. The body doesn't need punishment. It needs consistency. Gentle, regular signals that say, I still need these muscles. I still use this energy. Keep supporting me. And that's where the habit comes in. The one simple thing that shifts the entire story, and becomes the turning point from slow decline to gradual strength. We'll get to that in a moment. But before we do, we need to talk about what happens if you ignore those signals. Because this isn't just about looking strong or feeling energized. It's about protecting your independence. Your ability to stand, walk, balance. The things we take for granted, until they're no longer easy. Let's look at what's really at stake when muscles weaken. When your muscles begin to fade, it doesn't just affect how you feel, it changes how you move through the world. And often, the consequences arrive silently. You start avoiding stairs, not because you can't climb them, but because you don't feel like it today. You stop bending to pick things up off the floor, not because it hurts, but because it's easier to leave them for later. You take fewer walks, stand less in the kitchen, sit more in the evenings. Bit by bit, movement becomes the exception, not the rule. And without realizing it, you train your body to expect less from itself. But your body remembers what it used to do, and it misses it. Now, here's the part that most people never think about. When you lose muscle, you don't just lose strength. You lose stability. That slight wobble when turning a corner, that stumble while stepping off a curb, it's not just clumsiness. It's your body lacking the support it used to have. Strong muscles act like shock absorbers. They protect your joints, hold your bones in alignment, and catch you when you shift your weight. Without them, your knees take more stress. Your hips become vulnerable. Even your back starts compensating, tightening in ways that were never meant to last. But it goes deeper than the body. Muscle loss affects confidence. You begin to question your movements. You hesitate before you step. That hesitation. It sends a ripple into your brain, a message that says, maybe I can't. And over time, that message becomes a belief. You avoid activities not because you're incapable, but because you're uncertain. And nothing shrinks the spirit faster than fear of falling, fear of stumbling, fear of being seen as weak. But remember, all of this, from the smallest hesitation to the largest imbalance, is not your fate. It's simply what happens when your body stops receiving signals to stay strong. And the moment you start sending those signals again, the story can change. Now let's talk about how. Because the habit I'm going to show you isn't extreme. It won't exhaust you. In fact, it's almost deceptively simple. But it works, and it works because it speaks the language your body still understands, even if it's been silent for a while. Let me show you what it is. It starts with something so small, so ordinary, that most people overlook it. But done consistently, it becomes the one thing your body can't ignore, because it reawakens the entire system. I'm talking about the habit of intentional, daily resistance. Not heavy lifting. Not gym machines. But gentle, weight-bearing movement that tells your muscles, you're still needed. This could be standing from a chair without using your hands, 5 times in a row. It could be slowly lifting your heels while brushing your teeth, holding for a moment at the top. It could be a controlled wall push-up in the hallway. Or even standing on one leg while waiting for the kettle to boil. You see, muscles don't need loud gestures. They need consistent invitations. Each time you create tension, even mild tension, the muscle gets a signal, hold. Stabilize. Grow, and just like a plant reaching for light, it responds. This is how strength returns, not in a rush, but in a rhythm. And here's where it gets interesting. Once your muscles begin responding, everything else follows. Your joints start feeling less pressure. Your energy returns, not as a burst, but as a steady current. You breathe deeper. You walk taller. And one day you realize, you're not bracing yourself to stand. You're just standing. The body doesn't need to be pushed. It needs to be asked. Kindly. Daily. That's the power of this habit. It turns routine moments, sitting, standing, brushing your hair, into small acts of recovery. And the more you do it, the more your brain adapts. Your balance improves. Your reflexes sharpen. Your mind becomes clearer, because movement isn't just physical. It fuels your brain with oxygen, sharpens memory, and lifts your mood. And now, we need to feed that process. Because movement is only half of the equation. Muscles need nourishment to grow. Energy needs the right fuel to flow. And your new habit needs the right support to become a long-term ally. Let's look at how to feed your strength, in a way that's simple, satisfying, and healing. When you start rebuilding strength through movement, your body becomes like a construction site that's come back to life. The workers are ready, the plans are clear, but now they need materials. And that's where food comes in. Not as a strict diet, not as calorie counting, not as shame or rules. But as fuel. As medicine. As permission to thrive again. The first thing your muscles need is protein. Not enormous amounts. Just regular, reliable sources throughout the day. A boiled egg with breakfast. A handful of nuts mid-morning. A piece of chicken, fish, or lentils at lunch. A slice of cheese, a spoonful of yogurt, a warm bowl of soup with beans or grains in the evening. Every time you give your body real, whole protein, you're handing it the bricks and mortar it needs to build tissue, to strengthen fibers, to hold you up from the inside out. But it's not just protein. Muscles and bones thrive on magnesium, potassium, omega fats, antioxidants, all found in everyday foods. Leafy greens. Avocados. Berries. Olive oil. Sweet potatoes. They don't need to be exotic or expensive. They just need to be real. When you choose these foods, you're not eating healthy, in the abstract. You're sending your body a message, you're worth supporting. And that message matters more than you think. Because people over time often stop feeding themselves with care. Meals become quick, dull, low in nutrients. And the body responds, it slows down, shuts down, stores fat instead of building strength. But when you shift that, even a little, the response is fast. You wake up less tired. Your legs feel steadier. You don't crash mid-afternoon. That dull fog in your mind begins to clear. All because your cells, tiny and tireless, are finally getting what they've been waiting for. And here's something you won't hear often, eating well doesn't mean eating perfectly. It means eating consciously. With kindness. With rhythm. With attention. Your body doesn't want control. It wants cooperation. Now, once you've got movement in place, even 5 minutes a day, and you've begun fueling that movement with real nourishment, something incredible begins to happen. It's quiet at first. Then unmistakable. Your muscles return. Your energy climbs. And with it comes something even more powerful, your confidence. In the next part, let's talk about what your life starts to feel like when strength comes back. Something shifts, and it's not just in your body. It's in the way you carry yourself. In the way you move through the day. In the way you think. At first, it's subtle. You don't need the chair arm to stand up. You climb the stairs without stopping. You sleep deeper, wake clearer. You start choosing to move, not because you have to, but because it feels good. And underneath all of it, a quiet realization begins to grow, I'm not done. There's a story I often think about, a man who came into his 70s feeling worn down. Years of sitting too much, eating too little, sleeping poorly. He thought, like so many do, that this was just his new reality. But he started with a single change. Standing up without using his hands, 5 times every morning. That was it. That was his habit. And after 1 week, he didn't feel much. But after 2, he noticed the stairs weren't as hard. After a month, he walked farther without resting. After 2, he caught himself humming in the kitchen. Something was back, not just in his legs, but in his spirit. That's what this habit does. It wakes something up. Strength, yes, but also clarity. Presence. Calm. When you reclaim your body, you reclaim parts of yourself you forgot were missing. And you begin to dream again. To plan. To say yes to things. Because confidence doesn't come from motivation. It comes from results. And results come from action. Quiet, daily, simple action. That one habit, 5 chair stands, 10 heel lifts, a 1-minute wall press, becomes more than a task. It becomes a thread. One that weaves through your morning, your meals, your movement, your mood. One that reminds your body every day, *, I'm still here. I'm still working. I still matter, *. In the final part of this talk, let's bring it all together. Because what's waiting on the other side of this journey isn't just stronger legs or more energy, it's freedom. What's really waiting on the other side isn't a number on a scale. It isn't a younger body or a perfect day. It's the moment when you walk into a room and don't think twice about your balance. When you stand up without a sigh. When you carry groceries with both hands and feel steady doing it. When you wake up with energy, not the crashing kind, but a calm, stable current that flows through your whole morning. That's not youth. That's vitality. And it's not reserved for the few. It's available to anyone who makes the quiet choice to move, to nourish, to support the body they're still living in, right now, exactly as it is. The strength you thought was gone. It didn't vanish. It just faded beneath habits that no longer served you. But now, today, you've learned that a single, deliberate action, done daily, is enough to change that. You don't need to overhaul your life. You don't need to chase perfection. You need only to begin. And keep beginning. Each day a small step, repeated. Each meal a small kindness. Each movement a message, I'm still building. I'm still strong. I'm still here. So the next time you feel your legs hesitate, pause and remember this, strength doesn't disappear. It waits. Quietly. Patiently. For the day you decide to call it back. And that day, can be today. Let this be your beginning. And let your body, powerful, wise, still full of life, meet you there.